Hey everybody, this video is inspired by days 22 and 23 of 30 Days of Corsets, in which they ask what is your favorite way to buy a corset, either in person or online, and what way do you usually buy corsets, either in person or online. Now, I have made some videos in the past on what to look for if you're going to buy a corset in person, whether you are lucky enough to live by a brick and mortar store like those in the UK or in California, or if you are going to an anime convention or a Ren fair where corsets are going to be sold. So I teach you what sort of things to look for and what to ask about if you're going to buy a corset in person, as well as being able to try on the corset before you buy it. And I also have a separate video on what sort of things to look for if you're going to buy a corset online, what sort of things that they should list on their website, and what sort of questions you can ask the maker or the store before you buy a corset and all that other good stuff. But today I'm going to talk about some of my own personal experiences and preferences because this is 30 Days of Corsets. And for the most part, my answer has not changed all that much compared to the last time I answered this question, the first time I did the 30 Days of Corsets series back in 2013. So to answer the question, 99% of the time, if I'm going to buy a corset, it is online. Absolutely online. There are over 350 different corset makers around the world. I cannot afford to go on a plane and fly over to them to be fitted in person. That is not practical. So, and I also don't live near many stores that sell off-the-rack corsets, these brick and mortar stores. I think there's like Northbound Leather in Toronto, which I could drive like an hour or an hour and a half to get there, but I know what sort of corsets they sell there. And I have gone to visit several different corsetiers in Toronto, like Starker's Corsetry, Bone and Bust Couture, at the time they were called Totally Wasted, and L'Atelier de la Fleur. So that was an amazing experience, and I'm very, very lucky to live near not only one corset maker, but actually 3 of them. And I would love to continue to support local makers and Canadian makers in the future as well. But I know that most people don't live near any sort of brick and mortar store that sells real corsets. And although there are many different corset makers around the world, you can check my Corsetier map if you haven't already to see if there is a independent corset maker that lives and works near you. There are a lot of people that just they can't make the drive over there, or they don't have anybody who lives within driving distance. So they don't have that privilege. They don't have that opportunity to be fitted in person. Absolutely, my favorite way of buying a corset would be in person by a specialist corsetier, because there is nothing quite like being measured by them and having your mock-up fitted by them in person, because they can notice details that you don't necessarily notice. You can tell them that, you know, this bit is a little bit pokey, this bit's a little bit uncomfortable, or I don't really understand why this area is getting like lines or wrinkles, and they know how to fix it, as opposed to having to depend on you for those photos and descriptions, and they have to sort of adjust on that. Now, I mean, technology is amazing. There's a lot that you can do via Skype, but I feel that there's nothing quite like having a person in front of you and being able to slash and spread those seams while it's on the body, and being able to adjust it right in person, so that you don't have to do a lot of back and forth, mailing different mock-ups and coordinating your schedules to, you know, meet up on Skype and having to depend on a set of photos, basically. That being said, off-the-rack corsets are abundant online. They ship worldwide pretty much immediately, and so there are a lot of people who would rather invest in like 5 or sometimes even 10 different off-the-rack corsets, trying to find one that is the most suitable to their body, as opposed to dropping $300 or $400 on a single custom corset, where you can't return it or exchange it if there's anything wrong with the sizing or anything like that. So it is kind of like a different set of risks, and I can see the benefits to going both ways. But if you would like to support a local maker, again, I will post my link to the Corsetier map in the cards above and down in the description below, because there is a good chance that if you are in the UK or in the US, there is a corset maker who lives and works within driving distance of you. And if not, there are corset makers who are able to take commissions, and they are able to mail you a mock-up and do a fitting via Skype if you want to do it that way. And if you are looking for, say, a specific style or type of corset, for instance, a corset dress, a cupped overbust that has the individual bust cups, ethically produced, ready-to-wear corsets that are manufactured in Europe or North America as opposed to being produced overseas. Corset bodies, various like Titanic era corsets or pre-Victorian stays, tons of different things. I got lots of galleries. They're all free on my website. So check those out if you're looking for something very specific. How's that for a plug? It's all free. It's free resources. So I worked really hard on them. Please use them. But thank you all for watching. Let me know in a comment down below whether you prefer to buy corsets in person or online. I know that not everybody else has the opportunity to buy in person, but if you have tried it both ways, let me know what you prefer. And thank you all for watching. I will see you all next week for another video.